the whispers in the walls. The old Victorian mansion loomed before me, its dark windows staring lifelessly into the night. As I approached the heavy oak door, a chill ran down my spine. There was an undeniable sense of unease that permeated the very air around this place. Still, I pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within its walls. The door creaked open, and I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing through the cavernous foyer. The musty scent of aged wood and forgotten memories hung thick in the air, and as I glanced around, I couldn't help but feel as if unseen eyes were watching my every move. As I ventured deeper into the mansion, the whispers began. At first, they were faint, barely audible, just the faintest of murmurs that seemed to dance just on the edge of my hearing. But slowly, they grew in volume, until it felt as if the very walls were whispering, calling out to me, begging me to uncover their dark secrets. I followed the voices, drawn deeper into the labyrinth of hallways and rooms, each one more oppressive and foreboding than the last. The air grew heavier, the shadows darker, and the whispers more insistent, like the desperate pleas of 1,000 lost souls. As I reached the inner sanctum of the mansion, the whispers reached a crescendo, a cacophony of voices that seemed to surround me, pressing in from all sides. I felt a presence, a malevolent force that seemed to seep into my very being, filling me with a dread I had never known. And then silence. The whispers had stopped, and in their place, a new sound emerged, the soft, ominous creaking of floorboards, as if something or someone was approaching. I whirled around, my heart pounding, but saw nothing. Yet I knew I was not alone. The mansion had awakened, and it was hungry. As I turned to flee, a dark shape emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with unholy malice. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The darkness consumed me, and I knew in that moment that I had stumbled upon a horror beyond my wildest nightmares. Reflections of fear. The old hotel loomed before me, its once grand facade now crumbling and weathered, a testament to the ravages of time. As I stepped through the ornate revolving doors, a deep sense of foreboding settled over me, as if the very air carried the weight of 1,000 forgotten secrets. The lobby was a study in decay, the once opulent furnishings now faded and worn, the once gleaming marble floors dull and scuffed. A sense of abandonment hung heavy in the air, as if the life had been drained from this place long ago. As I approached the front desk, a chill ran down my spine. The attendant, a wizened old man with eyes that seemed to bore into my soul, greeted me with a crooked smile that sent shivers down my spine. "Welcome to the Nightingale Hotel," he rasped, his voice barely above a whisper. "We've been expecting you." I swallowed hard, my mouth suddenly dry, and followed him as he led me to my room. The hallways were dark and winding, the shadows seeming to close in around me, and the whispers of the hotel's past echoed in my ears. When we reached my door, the attendant paused, his hand hovering over the key. "Be careful, my dear," he murmured, his eyes narrowing. "There are things in this place that are best left undisturbed." With that, he handed me the key and turned to leave, his footsteps receding down the hallway, leaving me alone with the weight of his ominous words. As I stepped into the room, the first thing I noticed was the mirror. It hung on the wall, its ornate frame casting an eerie glow over the room. I couldn't help but be drawn to it, my gaze locked on the glimmering surface. And then, I saw it, a faint, shadowy figure, moving behind my reflection. I spun around, my heart racing, but the room was empty. Turning back to the mirror, I gasped. The figure was gone, replaced by my own frightened face. It was then that I realized the true horror of this place. The Nightingale Hotel was not just a place of decay and abandonment. It was a place of dark, twisted reflections, where the shadows held secrets that were best left undiscovered. As I lay in bed, the whispers of the hotel's past echoing in my mind, I knew that I would never be the same. The reflections of fear had etched themselves into my soul, a haunting reminder that some horrors are best left untouched. Echoes of the Manor. The old manor loomed before me, its imposing facade casting long shadows across the overgrown lawn. As I approached the weathered oak door, a chill ran down my spine, an ominous feeling that this place was not what it seemed. Steeling my nerves, I grasped the tarnished doorknob and pushed the door open, the hinges creaking in protest. The air inside was thick with the scent of decay, and a heavy silence hung over the cavernous foyer, as if the very walls were holding their breath. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls, and felt a sense of unease wash over me. The manor was not merely abandoned, it was haunted, its dark energy seeping into every corner, whispering ancient secrets that were best left undisturbed. As I ventured deeper into the manor, the shadows seemed to grow longer, the air colder. Doors groaned and floorboards creaked, as if the house itself was alive and breathing, watching my every move with a malevolent eye. And then the whispers began, faint at first, like the distant murmurs of the wind, but slowly growing in volume and intensity, until it felt as if the very walls were speaking to me, calling out in a language I could not understand. I followed the voices, drawn deeper into the labyrinth of rooms and hallways, each one more oppressive and foreboding than the last. The shadows seemed to shift and dance, the air thick with a palpable sense of dread, and the whispers grew louder, until they were a cacophony of voices, a symphony of the damned. As I reached the heart of the manor, the whispers suddenly fell silent, and a deafening stillness descended. The air grew heavy, as if the very atmosphere was pregnant with a dark, malevolent force, and I felt a presence, a malevolent entity that seemed to seep into my very being, filling me with a terror that I had never known. In that moment, I knew that I had stumbled upon a horror beyond imagination, a nightmare that had been waiting for me all along. The echoes of the manor had awakened, and they would not be silenced. The mirrors of madness. The old mansion loomed before me, its towering spires and crumbling facade casting long shadows across the overgrown grounds. As I approached the ornate double doors, a sense of unease crept up my spine, an ominous feeling that this place was not merely abandoned, but infused with a dark, unspeakable power. With a deep breath, I pushed open the doors and stepped inside, the musty scent of decay and forgotten memories assaulting my senses. The foyer was vast and echoing, the once opulent furnishings now in a state of disrepair, and an eerie silence hung in the air, as if the very walls were holding their breath. As I ventured deeper into the mansion, the shadows seemed to lengthen, the air growing colder and more oppressive with each step. The whispers began, faint at first, like the distant murmurs of a forgotten language, but gradually growing louder and more insistent, until it felt as if the very air was alive with the voices of the damned. I followed the whispers, drawn deeper into the labyrinth of hallways and rooms, each one more unsettling than the last. And then, I saw them, the mirrors, dozens of them, lining the walls, their surfaces reflecting twisted, distorted images that seemed to shift and writhe, as if the very laws of reality were being twisted and warped. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices that seemed to surround me, pressing in from all sides. I felt a presence, a malevolent force that seemed to seep into my very being, filling me with a dread I had never known. And then, I saw it, a figure in the mirror, a twisted, inhuman creature with glowing eyes and sharp, jagged teeth. It stared back at me, its gaze burning into my soul, and I knew in that moment that I had stumbled upon a horror beyond imagination. As the creature lunged towards me, its claws outstretched, I turned to flee, but the mirrors had become a labyrinth, trapping me in a nightmare of distorted reflections and twisted realities. The whispers grew louder, a deafening chorus of tormented souls, and I knew that I had crossed a line, that I had opened a door that should never have been opened. In the end, I was consumed by the mirrors of madness, my very essence shattered and scattered across the twisted reflections that filled the mansion. And the whispers, they never ceased, echoing through the halls, a constant reminder of the horrors that lay beyond the veil of reality.